Good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to an exciting installment of Darkness in Dublin. For my many sins, and I can assure you, in my long life, I've had many, many sins. The first full crossover scene in Darkness in Dublin is about to take place. In this scene, set in Dublin Castle, the political and the governmental nerve centre of the capital city of Ireland, a meeting has been called in the senior executive suite, here pictured. Entities and individuals from all across the city, from many walks of life, have been summoned together in order to answer why it is that certain disturbing forecasts and portents rather, have been seen throughout the land, why it is that the shadows grow long, and why it is that now everything seems just that little bit colder. We will do introductions in the order in which people will arrive. The first group in have been here since the early afternoon, so they've been here about 6 hours. They have been waiting. They have been getting the preparations ready. For after all, in many ways, it was them who called for this. It was them who called for this meeting. Bear with me just a moment, please. Sorry, I have a message that I should read. Okay. The Magi, the awakened population of Dublin, have been gathered here for the last, as I said, 4, 5-ish hours. They are led by this man, whom is sitting very calmly, one could almost say serenely, at the head of the table. Nothing seems to ever really nothing really seems to faze him. Master Siren will sit cross-legged at the head of the table. He has his fingers entered together as he appears. His eyes are closed as he almost appears to be in a restful state of meditation. If any of the mages wish to ask him any questions before we should begin, now is the time to do so.
My apologies for interrupting your meditation.
Yes, Theodis. How may I help?
If I may ask, because I don't know about anybody else, but I'm not entirely clear on the matter. Do we know who precisely we are meeting?
Yes, we do. I sent the invitations myself. We are meeting representatives of the other supernatural courts, organizations, cabals, and affiliations here within the city proper.
Oh, absolutely fascinating. Well, I'm sure that will make for quite a discussion.
Needless to say, you will watch your manners, I hope.
Of course, I have no intention of starting a conflict in a place that has been considered neutral ground.
He will hold out his hand for Lottie to fill his teacup, just like, yeah.
Lottie will fill the teacup and look over to Theodis. Which flavor did you want again, dear?
What did she say, sorry?
Which flavor of tea did you want again? I have literally everything I could grab.
He thinks for a moment. I'll just have some green ale tea, thank you.
Of course.
For the record, Lottie has in fact baked goods just for the purpose of this meeting, which automatically makes it better than if she hadn't shown up.
Yes.
So there are...
I was just going to say, Theodis has a crutch leaning against his chair. Other than that, though, nothing remarkable.
Okay. Are the other two mages here satisfied that they don't need to ask Siren any questions before we begin?
Yep. Yeah, I mean, like basic etiquette would have been covered before this meeting started, right?
Yes, one of the big things that Siren will say is because some of these people can be very, very prickly about it. Whatever title they give you to use, it's probably best if you use it.
Got it.
Yep.
Christina is pretty amenable to whatever, so she's like, yeah, that's fine.
He will say that certain people still, I will quote Siren directly, certain people still hold to the concept that rights of birth, nobility, or former position allots them power rather than that of the individual. It's archaic, but then again, we must do what we must. And just like that, if he had, he could have started a war between the changelings like that. Anyway, on that note, the door will open. The door will be opened by Teresa Moonborn. Is it Moonborn or Moon? I can't really read the thing.
Moonbarrow.
Moonbarrow. There we go. You're the lowest, so you go in first. That's how this works. There's a chain of totem pole.
Okay. And she appears to be a very pretty girl, like college age. Nothing special about her.
All right. Following her will be Crib into the room.
Crib will walk in. He has just very humble kind of clothing. His standout features are his glasses, his heterochromia, and he has a pad of paper and a pen. His hair is very disheveled, and he smells of roses.
Following them in will be this individual. Once again, other than the skin color, basically think of that without the Fey touches, but it's just easier for me to find a Fey picture than it is for me to not. For me to find a picture. They are dressed in a very kind of formalized business suit. They have a purple tie around their neck. They have a silver tie pin that goes through it. This individual is appearance 5 because appearance 6 rather, because you gotta love that chi. Upon entering, they will move to Siren. They will extend a hand. The two will shake hands before they will turn their gaze, that very slow, languid gaze. I will point out that even through their Fey glamour, their changeling eyes shine through as obvious. So you will see the bright red of the eyes as they're pictured there, sweep across the mages. And in a very light voice, they will say, "A pleasure to make your acquaintance. My name is Duke Salazan Mistweaver ap Ilunid. I figure that we should go with our formal and proper names and titles, since this is to be a formal and proper occasion. We are here to speak on behalf of our good king and the denizens of the dreaming within Dublin. Allow me to also introduce," she will extend her hand, Baron Crib ap, what was your house? It's Leon, no, it's
Darwan.
Cauldron. Beg your pardon?
Darwan.
Darwan, thank you. Baron Crib ap Darwan. And do you go with lady or do you go with sir?
She goes with sir.
Okay. And Sir Teresa Moonbarrow ap Isian. Oh, please, Mark, say that out loud and cause a diplomatic incident.
Jesus, no.
That's why I put it in the chat.
Because that's how we go straight to diplomatic incidents.
Exactly.
She will, actually, it is a he, my apologies. He will say, "And your names are, since we are to get better acquainted."
Lottie, holding a caffer of tea, will do her best kind of bow, because she's not going to insult anyone with her attempt at a curtsy. And Mario Ortega? Bunny Dene. I'm the apprentice to Master Simon.
And
Sorry, continue.
Peter would just, I was just going to say that Peter would bow politely and say, my name is Peter Reeves. I am of the Akashic Brotherhood.
Hmm.
It is a pleasure to meet all of you.
And Christina will nod and bow respectfully. Say, I am Christina Spanos of the Verbena.
For the record, you can obviously see all of the. Oh wait, do you have Fey blood or just Fey affinity? I can't remember.
Fey affinity.
Okay, they just like for some reason that everyone wants to sit near her. It's just a thing now. You know, it's like ooh,
She's a shiny object.
shiny object.
Shiny.
Shiny. They, the cool red eyes kind of look Theodos up and down as he's the last one to give an introduction.
Yeah, he stands. He immediately uses his crutches. Crutch. And kind of pulls it just in front of his center, so he can. It's much easier for him to bow. He says, "An honor. I am Theodos Crane, simply an apprentice."
Very well then. We shall take our seats, I think. For the record, each one of the people who is attending has a little seat name that is has been embossed and put on a small little card that is where they are allotted to sit. So basically, you will sit at one end of the table. The Duke will sit in the middle with one of you on each side, as is proper. The Duke will then stop, blink twice before they will exchange their seat with Sir Moonbarrow, just so they can sit next to Christina, because ooh, shiny object. You're like a proximity high. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
She'll just
Sitting
smile.
next to the Duke.
The Duke has a new plaything. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
I'm going to sit next to the Duke because it's close to the shiny.
That's fine. You can sit close. We are apparently reorganizing our seating in terms of silence Baron. I am a Duke. Silence Knight. I am a Baron. Boom. I'd like to think that it's left to the poor knight to just reassemble the line of seat, the little carriage, like there we go. Fairy feudalism.
Fairy politics.
All right. So next to enter the room, much less pseudo fanfare this time around, mostly because this individual clearly does not give, I'm not going to say doesn't give a damn about it, but definitely doesn't seem to give so much of a, oh, we must have pomp and ceremony, kind of, we must all enter in the correct order of admittance and all that such. So I'm just going to grab his picture. 1 minute. There we go. This individual will step into the room. They are very short. They're only about 5'3", 5'4" on a good day. For the record, you can tell that they've got the mask that they're wearing this time, because most people are never fully sure what the seneschal is a physical mask, so you can actually tell. But the eyes are basically covered in black glass, which is what creates the black feature there. So it kind of daubs out, their ability to have their eyes seen past their mask. But as he walks in, he will nod appropriately, and he will say, "Lovely venue. I really should use this place more. I really should use this place for discussions more often." Don't you agree, Francis? It adds a certain feel. It has a certain taste to it. That's
What
why
does
I'm
this
doing
place
crazy.
actually look like, OC?
Oh, I had a picture of it up for a while.
Damn.
You had one job. I'll find
Francis
the
had
picture.
one job.
Francis had one. Francis, you're failing at your one job. Give me a second. I will find it again. I really need to get the. Upgraded menu count so I can have more pictures. Looks like this.
Ah, that's quite classy then.
Oh, and
It is quite
even went.
wonderful. Sorry.
And look, they even went to the trouble of is that apple strudel I smell? How lovely.
Sincerely, you can also tell me your preference for tea, or deal with whatever's left.
How charming. He walks into the room, Theodus close on his heels, then followed by the two other remaining in the form of Miss Stevenson and Dr. Ivanov will enter the room. If you would like to make any descriptions that you may have upon entering, feel free to do so.
Well, for those who don't know, behind the two, more talkative people is a woman who's 6'2", looks as though she's working out quite. Oh, yeah, she probably is in the gym quite often. And she does her best to look at the wall or the floor, and just walks in just behind the two, relatively smaller people. And just in front of her is another person that didn't get to describe himself. Please go ahead.
Apologies. You go first.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Mikhail walks in, wearing a three-piece suit. People who have seen him before will have seen him wear three-piece suits quite a few times. And he'll enter and just set what looks to be like a leather briefcase style thing off to one corner by the door when he enters, before going to mingle.
Francis, for his part, anybody who sees him sees a slightly pale but well-built figure who looks like they're in their late 20s. They're quite slender, more wiry than anything else. They're not necessarily muscular or stocky. His hair has been brushed into rather affectionate curls, and he has something of a baby face going on. The way he seems to present himself is how to say, fairly or very rather confident, despite their rather their youthful looking figure. Francis doesn't really seem to betray any mental or physical weakness in their initial bearing or body language. And they're just wearing a suit, but slightly more exotic than a tux. It definitely has hints of high society experimental fashion going on, of all the nonsense that entails. It's basically a colourful suit, mainly in golds, whites, and blacks.
All right. So Hennessy will step forward. He will accept a cup of tea, though he will ask Lottie if she has a straw.
You would dare ask Lottie if she has a straw? Goes into her bag and pulls out a bag of silly straws.
Excellent.
Just looking at him like, are you serious? Really?
He will accept the silliest of straws.
Given with contempt after 2 years, really?
No. The vampire who's never met you asked if you had a straw.
Oh, okay.
He will accept tea. But he will say, it's more so a matter of for your comfort than my own. Taking off the mask would just end up upsetting people. I'm sure you understand. But it is a pleasure to make your acquaintances, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Vincent Hennessy. I am the... well, I speak with some authority when it comes to the matters of the embraced, the undead, the... well, I would say Nosferatu, but then again, that's an entirely different kettle of fish. Do you like my little pun, Francis? I liked my little pun. Francis,
there is like this moment of silence where he simply says, "You shall do as you will."
Yes, I think that I shall. But it is a pleasure to meet all of you, a genuine pleasure. Rather than us going around the room, I'm sure that we'll get to know each other in time properly and all that. Why is it that we, as I said, my name is Vincent Hennessy. I'm ironically a member of what we call the family of Nosferatu, or the clan thereof. I'll let my fellows give their introductions.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Francis Beaumont. He bows.
For the record,
Well,
for the changeling, ow, ow, ow. Why is there something stabbing me in the head? By God, there is. That sweet banality, though.
I am Francis Beaumont. Well, I do come from a family of my own. I hope you understand if I prefer to keep such things to myself. It's a matter of personal privacy.
How about the last two of you? Come on, step up, step up. Don't be shy.
Emily will be kind of politely ushered forward with a simple gesture from the from Francis.
Everyone can see that she looks about as like she looks as though she's not quite sure there's a hole small enough for her to crawl into. She does not look comfortable whatsoever, and she just says, "Hello, everyone. I'm Emily. Yeah." And she tries to get behind the person who just shoved them into the middle of it. As I could guess, some people might recognize her from some sort of vision, but we'll get back to that.
Not yet. Ironically, the person who had the vision hasn't bloody shown up yet. He's the last one in.
Okay.
But and last but not least is Mr. Ivanov.
He'll step forward. Mikhail Ivanov. You could say the family Tremere, I guess.
Hi. I'm just going to say, unless he wants to make an outward motion of his face, would Theodos like to make me some kind of roll, or is the referencing of that name something that would affect him sufficiently?
Lottie has an eye twitch. Lottie has a severe eye twitch.
Okay.
Yeah. His eyes visibly narrow into slits.
Okay. Yes. Oh, look how lovely. They've even put place settings for us. So I guess I'm sitting here, he'll say as he takes his seat. This tea is excellent, thank you. You see him drink the tea up through the silly straw, like from behind the mask. Excellent.
Yes, there's
What can
also
I say?
apple strudel.
Oh, thank you, my dear, but I'm quite sated at the moment. But thank you very much for your offer. She's utterly darling.
Tight smile, walks to Siren, stays there.
Siren's face hasn't really changed. It's kind of that same very impassive mask that he has been wearing.
Francis will pull out the chairs for both Ivanov and Stevenson as a matter of politeness.
She sits down and just looks down into the table. just tries not to look at people.
He will then simply return to his own seat. Kind of had his hands behind his back this entire time, up until the point where he bowed, and then simply takes his seat. I appreciate the invitation.
And last but not least, Anthony, I will let you introduce your NPC, and you can bring in the last PC.
Oh, yes. This is the demon numerical. At a certain point, maybe about 5-10 minutes after the rest of you, doors open. And a young woman of, you would guess, maybe Mediterranean origin enters the room. I'm not going to try doing the voice or the accent because it will offend everybody. But she will enter. She'll be accompanied by 2 others. And she will simply stand looking around the room as though waiting for someone to acknowledge her existence.
From where he's sitting, in his chair, Siren will kind of nod his head deeply. For the record, because this NPC definitely has the wherewithal to recognize it immediately when she looks at him. You know how when the Earthbound made Nephilim?
Yep.
This is what happens when angels make Nephilim.
Okay, in that case, she's going to look at him, and you will all see it. Her hand will move to her hip and then stop, pat her hip as if looking for something that isn't there, click her fingers, and then look up. It's pretty obvious to you all that she's just tried to go for a weapon, only to realize that she didn't bring one.
Hennessy leans in and says in a very obvious kind of I'm whispering voice, "Well, that was very rude, wasn't it?"
Francis simply simply sighs, and that is a shame. I thought we all knew better. Alas.
I'm sure that we can all agree, Hill says. He has a very relaxed demeanor in his chair. As I said, he's quite small, so the cup of tea is almost comically large in his hands because the place gave you like mugs for tea, so the mugs are very large. So it almost looks comical, this huge tea with this very small person. He'll say, I'm sure that we all remember that we came here in the spirit of goodwill and cooperation, dear lady. So why don't you take a seat?
Spirit of cooperation is one thing. Interacting with angel-blooded is quite another.
Ooh. I've never tried angel blood. I suppose it would be delicious.
I can smell it on you.
Now. The changeling leans forward and he puts both of his hands on the table and he says, "If there is this insipid quarreling between us, we will get nowhere whatsoever. We all came here in the spirit of mutual benefit. So why is it that why don't we just remember that?"
She looks at the other two demons, or the NPC demon and the player demon who were with her, and she simply says, "For the tyrant, I'm doing this for the tyrant," and then settles into a chair.
Nick, for his part, as soon as he walks in, pretty much takes off his hoodie. Well, the hoodie top anyway. And they're like, and following that exchange, he listens over to the certain demon who is sitting down, and they simply say, considering everything that I saw, would you prefer that I speak on behalf, at least when it comes to relaying what we know?
Yes. Let them hear your testimony.
And look around at the crowd and if Evan will permit me to recognize the certain people.
Absolutely. You will recognize both Ivanov and Emily from your vision. They were both in the church right up until you saw the moment of ignition, shall we say.
And in this case, Nick will, upon noticing them, because he has quite high perception, he'll lean down close to them. There's a few of them here that were there.
Just before the meeting begins, just as the door is closing after the last demon, a very, very black-gloved hand and the door will creak open again, as you will see this entity enter, dressed as he is pictured in black from head to foot. You will also notice the gleaming red eyes. Unlike the changelings, these eyes glow with a vague luminescence all of their own.
Is anyone else getting the instinct to kill it with fire? Just me?
My apologies for my tardiness, but I had other matters to see to. It is a pleasure to see some of you again and to meet others up here. My name is, well, rather, I am referred to and called the Obsidian Lantern. A pleasure to make your acquaintance. Miss Stevenson, it is a pleasure to see you again. Though when last we met, you were attempting to make yourself very small indeed. Is that still the case?
It's good to it's good to see you too. I mean, again, no, I'm good. I'm fine.
Wonderful.
Do you need a seat or?
There is a seat for him. He is the last to take his seat. He will say, I am delighted to give what insights I and my humble clan may give in this matter, and I thank you, my lord Siren, for the opportunity to address this conclave. He will then very quietly take a seat and will sit. For the record, for the changeling, he hurts worst of all. Like, Hennessy is bad, but this guy literally feels like, oh god, why? You can get over it, but it's like, I'm doing this for the cause. I'm doing this for the cause.
Just sit back and think of close your eyes and think of the good king.
Yes, good king Wenceslaus.
Exactly.
Okay.
Dick.
Eat a dick. With this in mind, Siren will look around the room and he will say, now that we've all gathered here, I believe that we should, how would one say, address the issues that are currently facing us all. And I sense that they are very much facing all of us. So, with this in mind, I am sure that the issues are myriad and varied. However, I have been able to ascertain enough to say that they are drawn, at least mostly, from a single root source. So, who would like to open the discussions? We are happy for whomever wishes to speak first to speak. Anyone?
Francis looks somewhat amused.
Did Francis say something?
Oh no, he just looks somewhat amused at the complete lack of discussion and pause. Theodis, however, will lean forward a little bit and will say, I may be able to lend some insight depending on the particular subject matter. I'm unaware of the seemingly mutual issues that all of you seem to be approaching us with. So I will ask, would it happen to relate to the event that occurred on Christmas Day, the massacre?
And that is one factor of it, yes.
Oh shit! Will be heard from Emily as she just face palms, and it seems as though she knows now what's going on, and her eyes just get really, really small. Her pupils go very wide, and she just looks up, holds her mouth, just looks around.
There is one minor matter, however, I'd wish to have clarified before I go forward, as I believe one of the individuals here is directly connected to the figure responsible. I'd like to know specifically what that connection may be, and if any of us need to be concerned about any personal conflicts in that regard, loyalties, political, personal, because I do not wish to give away or provide this information to a figure that may be suspect. He looks directly at Ivanov.
The Seneschal Henry stands up for the record, and he walks around the table and he puts his hands on Ivanov's shoulders, like almost like to many of you it might seem like a kind of an encouraging gesture. To Ivanov, however, it is not, and you can feel the potence there. He's not gripping you with it, but you can feel in the hands the immense strength that is there, and he will very calmly say, I'm sure that the good doctor here, considering that this was rather sprung on us via certain actions that were taken, will be more than delighted to provide you with the backstory, I believe, that we require before it is we move on. Isn't that right, Doctor?
You see him wince slightly. Like, not from anything the Seneschal's doing, it's almost like he's wincing at the gaze. Would you all prefer the long version or the short version? Looks around the room. Okay. He'll be attempting to stand up.
Yeah, he lets you stand up.
Okay. Well, I don't know how many of you are aware of how our kind, gesturing to himself and the Seneschal, are created. But suffice to say, it takes one to make one. And the man we're dealing with, if I'm right in who I believe we're dealing with, is the man who made me. And for more than a century, he was the closest thing I've known to a father. He also nearly got me and my brother killed. I was tortured by a council of my peers in order to verify the truth of his crimes. Now, given the damage he did to us, I've sworn that I will kill him, or at least see him dead. When that day comes, then I will wait until I am able. I will retrieve my brother, and he and I will return home, content in the knowledge that the bastard is finally screaming where he belongs.
Theodos takes a very brief look around the room to kind of gauge if this explanation is acceptable for everybody.
As wonderful as I'm sure that you probably think that explanation was, and I have no doubt that it had a deep and personal meaning to you, I'm also curious as to why exactly, or rather, whom exactly, or what is happening exactly. These are questions that I feel are much more important than, shall we say, family drama.
I was asked for backstory, sir.
I
But
believe
if you
more
want
so.
to know
I believe more so
why,
backstory as it. I believe backstory more so as it pertains to this individual and what is going on, sir. But continue.
in that case, I'll give you the shorter version then. Aisha, the man who created me, is an infernalist. A creature who deals with spirits dark and malevolent. And as a consequence, he has arrived in Dublin and, by his own words, seeks to tear down. He'll look directly at Seneschal and say, the pyramid and the ivory tower. One can assume that once he's dealt with those, he will move on to the rest of the world. He's not exactly ever been a subtle individual.
Quick
And as to the
sorry.
reason of the fire, he conjured hellfire. At least I can
Sorry,
assume it to be hellfire.
1 second. Francis, you wanted to speak?
No, it's more of an out of character question. Would Francis recognize the name of Isha in regards to his lore?
You could roll intelligence vampire lore if you'd like.
Mm-hmm. Or Camarilla lore, as it pertains to a particular document.
Oh yes, no, you can. Yeah, you can roll that. If you're trying to ascertain that particular piece of information, it's difficulty 5.
Okay, that is not actually my best dice pool, but it will do. Actually, wait a second. I'm going to double check.
I'm sorry. I just have to say, Jason, I love that. Nick raises his hand and then immediately leaves.
Alright, let me roll.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
I can hear you.
Yeah, sorry about that. My internet just suddenly died at the most inopportune moment. What was it you said?
I'm just waiting to answer a GM question, and by all means, you can talk.
All right.
Okay,
Chris will raise his hand.
3 successes.
All right. Lord Ishar was the former Tremere Lord of Louisiana and a large chunk of the southern United States until such time as he was arrested for the crime of infernalism. He was then sentenced to be executed via the inner council by the inner circle of the inner council of the Tremere. However, on the day he was due to be executed, they came to his cell to bring him out to face his execution to find that he was gone. Just gone. Since then, he has appeared as number 3 on the red list.
Excellent.
Priv raises his hand.
Okay, cool. I'm going to get to you after Jason goes first.
Okay.
Jason, talk.
After Nick's raised his hand, he just simply, he's more looking towards his superiors than anyone else. May I speak? I think I may have insight that can fill in the blanks.
By all means, share what you know.
My name is Nick, and I'm a seer. I met Ishar after the night after their massacre at that church. I looked into their future, into the possibilities, what they planned. And I listened to them speak. They were quite forward with what they were planning. Simply put, and I think I can explain, or at least offer suggestions as to why they are doing what they're doing and everything, which the gentleman over here, and he gestures towards Eisenhoff. It is Eisenhoff, isn't it?
Ivanov.
Ishar is not entirely like what you think he is anymore. In the sense that they are a tool for a... Imagine the world that we live in like a world which is floating in the middle of darkness. What Ishar serves is everything outside of that world. That infinite darkness. Call it outside if you want to, if it makes it simpler. This outside, this darkness, it has a kind of sentience to itself. And this Ishar, whatever was within them, whatever they were before, is no more. Now they are simply a tool, an extension of that darkness. And what they intend to do, what they intend to achieve, what they intended to achieve with this massacre, and at one which followed it at St. Vincent's Mental Asylum, is to open 6 seals so that darkness can come into our world. I know this because I saw that's what they planned. They're not, as I said before, they're not a mastermind. They're simply a tool being used by a force outside of our world.
Ivanov will blanch, and he'll put his hand up to interrupt you, and say, "I would like, in that case, for you to remember one thing, my friend. Do not think of him as just a tool. I guarantee you, he may seem like a puppet, but there will be more to him than that. He was never merely a tool. He was a monster all of his own, and he will still be that monster."
That may be so. But whatever force is controlling them made them more of a monster than whatever it was that they were before.
I would just like to add a point, or to request a point of clarification. The Duke will say as they lean forward, kind of, their fingers interwoven together, and they will say, "Who around this table has had personal interaction with this individual?"
I have, through no intention of my own.
I have enough hands go up.
And I know that you, and he points towards Ivanov, and then he points over towards Emily. And
She kind of just for the briefest of moments just looks at him with a little bit of a scowl, and it will immediately disappear, and she will just slowly raise her hand.
It was not your fault that that book hit that symbol.
What book? What symbol?
In the church.
How did you...
Someone puts a symbol on the ground. I think, Lord, this Ishar.
Just a clarification, it was on the altar. But yes, there was a symbol.
Yes, the altar, excuse me, sorry.
The ritual itself is one of significant age. It was comprised of Aramaic symbols. I know of its construction because I was able to read it. In theory, I could reconstruct it. I would never do so. To even understand the ritual itself seems to arouse Ishar's attention. I first heard of this through the news. I simply saw a photo of these symbols, read it through the newspaper, and he appeared within my very home, having turned half my body into air.
If I may make a storyteller point at this stage.
Yeah.
At this point, I think it's just Jason who's a demon, PC.
Yeah.
You will, for the last few times that the name Aishar has been said, you have felt a very odd sensation. When the I in Aishar is said, you felt a strange pressure. When the Shah in it was said, the pressure built. And then you got a sense there was a third syllable. But when it didn't come, the pressure fell away. And that's now happened multiple times. Any mages, I think, of a Hermetic origin might be able to make a roll of Arete to sense the same thing. But
Okay, I will do that. What's the difficulty? It's standard.
Standard diff, yeah.
Okay, I get 3 successes.
Okay, in that case, you also sense the building pressure, sudden drop-off. Building pressure, sudden drop-off. Building pressure, sudden drop-off.
Can I do an intuition or like awareness check?
Yes. Although I will point out, if you're using a law, be extraordinarily
I'm not using a
careful in your
law.
decision.
Using a law, I should point out. I'm just using the talent intuition.
Okay.
Okay. That's a disgustingly good roll. 1, 2, 3, 4 successes. It's D6.
Okay, that pressure is very similar to the sort of pressure you get when you hear a demon's celestial name being spoken, and yet the fact it seems to cut off, it's almost like the name you're hearing is part of a demon's celestial name, but you've never heard of a demon with a name that resembles that. At least you can't remember having ever encountered one.
Okay. Right, is my mic still far away?
Yes.
Yeah. But you're audible.
And I'll sort that
You're
out.
clear.
Right, so it sounds like a partial celestial name is what you're suggesting.
Yes, and based on that, it also hits you basically with the weight of a ton of bricks. That if there is, as you can sense it to be, a partial celestial name, then each time it has been said, there's a distinct possibility that something will be watching. Because something might have reacted.
Okay. In that case, 2 things. Firstly, I'd like to do it's intelligence legacy, I believe, to try and see if you can't figure out the entirety of the name.
Yeah.
Right,
that will be difficulty 8.
Right. Thankfully, that certain merit, Dreams of the Past, will drop that down to 7. I just need to remember how many dice I need to roll. One, 2 successes.
Okay. You do not know the name you don't actually remember the name itself, but you know that there was once a devil who went by a name beginning with Ishar, and that this devil was notorious for their sense of honor, to the point that breaking an oath in the presence of this demon could easily get you attacked and potentially killed if you were mortal.
In that case, Nick. Okay. Then, as soon as remembering that, Nick will then just like put his hand up quickly. I would advise we stop invoking their name. They will likely be able to hear us.
That is a sensible precaution. I am loath to do so, Siren says, as his eyes kind of flick down to the table and flick back up, and he will say,
If there is anyone here with the ability to... I'm not sure how to describe this, but thicken where we are.
This place has been well sealed and warded. I very much doubt that anything could get through, regardless what it is that is forced against them.
Evan,
At least for the time being.
At that point, bang, 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 bang on the door. Sounds like someone's hammering their fist on the door.
Yeah, Christina definitely jumps at that. Like, what the hell?
Peter's eyes dart towards the door. He doesn't move, but he's definitely on edge, especially with what was just said.
So, after the banging on the door, Crib will kick his chair so it spins and he goes back to back with the Duke, looking at the door.
That's fine. Siren appears to be very, very nonplussed. As a matter of fact, he will actually hold out his teacup to be refilled at this moment in time, just showing how nonplussed he is. Like, hey, you.
Well, poor T. Should I get that, or do you want me? Do you want to?
No one except those of us who have been invited can that is an interesting concept. His eyes narrow. It is entirely possible by the multiple invocations of a particular syllablage that you may have inadvertently invited the individual. Fascinating.
I don't have more teacups.
It's alright. We can share.
Again.
Yeah, you can
bang,
share with them.
Bang, 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 bang.
The wards are holding, so that's very well. Siren will stand up from the thing, and he will open the door.
Outside is a small, portly man in a business suit.
I don't guess that you're here to deliver room service.
Nope. I'm the emissary.
Oh, God. Casually, he points just over at the demons in the corner. They're over there.
Thank you. He hops before he starts walking, like bounds through the air, and the moment he crosses the threshold,
he gets kicked out.
I feel like that timing was actually He literally is atomized as he enters the boundaries of the facility.
The ward works. The ward work.
Yeah,
well,
That's sinister.
Evan, the ward's doing its job.
I know, right?
I don't know what happened there.
Apparently the ward's work out of character.
I was going to say, Siren's ward was so badass they booted you from Google. And like, nah, fuck this, boof.
Right.
Me too. Shit, is Lottie secretly a demon too?
I'm going to point this out. As soon as the guy gets over the threshold, Evan, the wards that were protecting that entire side of the room have just collapsed.
It took me 2 hours.
I should point out, warding circles flicker but remain active, but wards specifically designed for that side of the room have just instantly gone thump. And you will also sense, or Siren will sense, that the being who was just crossed into the room is, well, the word saturated is a good one, in dark energy.
Ooh.
And I don't mean the sort of dark energy that the normal fallen have been irradiating.
He has just pointed them towards the demons because, from his perspective, this is demon business.
Yep. He goes over, and at this point, damn, I can't remember your name.
Nick.
Nick, yes. Nick.
Literally says it on his overlay.
I'm on my phone. I can't see all the overlays. Puts his hand on Nick's shoulder. Make me 2 very rapid rolls. A willpower test, and then a Dex Athletics test.
Okay.
Both at diff 6.
Alright, we got 1. And we got... I'll spend a will for this one. Good thing I did. 1.
Oh, so you got 1 in each?
Yep.
Okay. With the willpower 1 success, that's enough to basically... You feel a presence trying to go into you through that physical contact, but you rebuff it by basically sort of mentally going, "Get the fuck out of here!" And the next moment, you quickly spring backwards. You instinctively spring backwards, as your deeper demon memories tell you, that is high torment.
On a side
torment
note, because
8, 9, and 10 level.
On a side note, because this is going to happen, because fuck it, I've decided YOLO. The Duke brings his hand down onto the table in a kind of a ringing noise, and he stands up and he says, "What is the meaning of this? This was supposed to be a private affair."
"I know," says the man with a smile. You'll notice there is a sheen of sweat on the top of his head, pouring through what little hair he has.
He looks at Nick. "Scion of Femorai, is this your doing?"
No. Yeah, Nick is quite visibly disturbed by this whole thing. And yeah, he's probably looking at probably hoping for the other demons to back him up on this stuff, because yeah, that's some freaky shit.
Oh yeah, the other demons are standing up, but they are staying back. They don't seem to want to touch this guy.
I was going to say, okay, actually, before anything else kicks off, can I get people's relative positions in the room? Siren has not left his chair. I'm just going to say where the NPCs are. Siren has not left his chair. Hennessy has stood up, but is not. He's kind of walked around so that he's definitely moved closer to the door than he was previously. And the Duke has stood up from their chair and is kind of leaning on the table in clear outrage. So I'm going to go down the list of people, and I want you to tell me physically where you are in the room, just in case it becomes important. So we know where Jason is because he's kind of been kept there. So Joey, where are you stood in the room?
So Triessa this whole time would have actually been standing at attention with her hands behind her back, behind where the Duke and the Baron are sitting. She hasn't moved from that spot.
That's fine. Austin, is Crib still seated, or what is he doing?
He is still seated, but now he is rapidly assessing the room and the way it goes.
Yep. Christina, where are you at the moment?
Still close to where the Duke and the Baron are. And she hasn't really moved, though she is on alert now because of everything that has just happened.
Cool. Peter, where are you? Oh, not Peter, sorry. Mark, because I just remembered that there is another Peter in the room. So, Mark, where are you physically?
I am still in my original seat.
Okay. Emily, whereabouts are you?
She's she actually has gotten up, but she's not getting any closer to this shit. She's backing up a bit.
That is wise. Maya, whereabouts is Lottie?
Lottie's standing behind Siren's chair with the carafe of tea still holding. She's just like, gonna have to do something to it.
Okay, and where are Francis / Theos?
Theodus is sitting next to Siren, and because of how casual Siren has been, he hopes he can handle this because Theodus is certainly not running away anytime soon.
Everyone, piggyback, cripple.
Technically, I can fly now, but as for Francis, was the social standing or sitting down?
Yeah, the seneschal has basically stood, and he's still facing the situation, but he's kind of edging towards the door.
Yeah, Francis will also stand at the intrusion. His eyes kind of locked with Nick and the emissary, so that the moment anything even conceivably happens, he can take an appropriate action of his own.
Cool. The obsidian lantern, aka the Assamite, is still sitting where he was seated. He has not moved. Nothing seems to have phased him so far. So that is where we are. Anthony, if you'd like to continue with what you were doing, I just wanted to get a mental picture of where everyone was in the room.
Yeah, and for reference, Evan, Mikhail is still sat in his own seat.
That is fine.
The emissary looks around the room with that same strange, like, happy as a child grin. It's very childish, that look. He says, "I'm here because you all invited my lady, and she insisted on coming. But it's a little difficult for her to get about these days. So she sent me to deliver her."
Go, mother of... Okay.
And at that point, when he says that, you can actually see, like, literally growing in rapid time, small sores around the edges of his lips that rapidly begin to pop.
Oh,
If you
Jesus.
imagine something like severe herpes or syphilis developing at like 100 times speed.
Oh shit.
It settles down after a few seconds, but just as he was saying that, pus pouring down from the sides of his mouth.
Saren, I believe our convergence may have to come to an end in a little bit.
Siren stands up at this point. Anthony, can you message me what's actually happening so I can gauge his reaction?
Right, yeah.
Sorry, just bear with us for a moment, kids. GM Conclave.
Yep. Do.
Do you know the added advantage of being the High Librarian of Dublin? You get like a fuckload of lores at 5.
Hooray!
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Somewhere out there, D'Onofrio is just sitting there going, if I'd been there, there would have been fireballs. I like fireballs.
Theodore sort of joined in.
D'Onofrio's Christmas present was a giant bottle of Fireball.
I approve of this. To be fair, she is a notorious alcoholic. She literally wakes the others up in the middle of the night for drunken adventures. It's great. Whenever
Yeah, you
she
hate
gets
her.
Go
to sleep, you bitch.
You have to have a Flambeau as a mentor, bro. That means you get action, Majorie.
He's not walking any faster. He is still using that fucking crutch. He's like, fuck you, I am walking. If I have to do this shit, I am going at my own fucking pace.
Evan, feel free to check your Discord.
Okay. You wouldn't assume Siren has this level of physical strength. He flips the whole table to put a barrier, but to put some kind of makeshift barrier between him and what the fuck is going on down there. And in a way that he's trying to angle it, it's going to basically catch them in the corner as he's going to shout, "Run."
I think at this point, I need to make a quick roll before everyone does everything else, just to see what happens.
It's gonna be like that.
Because I've pre-rolled a lot of this shit, just in case.
I did the exact same thing, just in case shit got real. I had everything pre-rolled.
Yep. So it's do.
Demon had one job.
Oh, motherfucker! Okay. Okay.
This is either
Everyone
gone really,
roll.
really good or really, really bad.
Everyone roll for initiative.
Oh, crap.
fuck.
Oh,
Oh,
We all knew what we were getting into.
That's a lie.
Yeah.
And here's the
I rolled
thing.
initiative.
Any of you who roll higher than an 11 on your initiative can choose to attack or flee if that is your preference.
Okay, one second.
Just flee. Flee.
I mean, fleeing seems to be the
When the fucking
smart option.
when the fucking senior magi who's been acting cool as a cucumber for this entire thing is like, no, we're all gonna die. Fuck this, GTFO, guys. It's just-
Right?
Oh my god, that initiative roll was garbage given my bonuses, but
When Siren panics, there's a reason to panic.
Yep.
oh, we got the same initiative. Lol.
and,
Okay. Somebody else can do an initiative check. So the Duke is going on a 13.
Are there windows in this place?
Not in this room, no.
That's the thing. It's basically who can get to the door before this guy gets to act.
Wow, Theodus is being Speedy fucking Gonzalez, considering it's Theodus.
Okay, so we have a lot of people at 13 because I'm doing the initiative chart really
What's
quick.
number 13?
Like we have like 5 people at 13.
I think I'll probably have priority on the roll because of my dex. Adding, I'm not sure if you do it this way, but dexterity taking into consideration celerity would be 7.
Yeah, that's fine.
No, it would be 8. Sorry.
I'm just doing this up so that Evan doesn't have a heart attack.
Fine.
You
don't worry
better
about
run
me.
home, Speedy Gonzalez.
Hate all of you.
So like everyone is at 13. Like
Yeah,
looks like
people is on 13.
Most people are on 13.
Yeah,
Hey.
that's
Stupid.
hence why the expression lucky number 13.
Yeah. Or it's the amount of ag damage you're going to take in round 1, but hey, what are you going to do?
Hey!
Experience of 10.
To be fair, so to answer for clarification, the Duke has a 5 dexterity, so I'm pretty sure that might win out.
Yeah, probably.
What is Lottie at, Maya?
Lottie's 8. Probably slow acting because she wants to make sure Siren gets out too.
Lindsay, what is Christina at?
12.
Okay. This does not take into account the 13s. But that is the chart on the side chat by Evan.
Okay, by the way, Anthony, question from a mage perspective. Is this thing a demon or is it a thrall?
This thing is a mortal thrall, though you can't. Though based on the level of ick he's radiating, I'm going to assume that like Siren at this point has sort of gone. Okay, I'm going to use my wuzomy senses. Yeah, this guy's radiating such a level of ick. You aren't sure what sort of powers he's likely to possess.
Well done, Joey. You had one job.
I mean, she's at 13 too, so.
Damn it! What is it with you people in 13s?
If it helps, it's like
It's our
the
lucky
unlucky number. So, yeah.
I was watching mine as he was saying that everybody was rolling 13s, waiting to see if I was going to roll a 13. I rolled a 12.
All right, so Peter, you go first. Let's get the show on the road.
My reaction is in the GIF I just posted.
Is
Run
it
away!
Excellent.
From Monty Python, like, run away, run away. Peter sees that the Siren is going, oh fuck this, and he goes, well, fuck this, and GTA so.
All right. Hennessy takes one look at this. His masked head flicks around before he will also skive out the door, spending blood for his celerity to move like grease lightning.
Does he
Next
sound like
is-
Red Revolta?
Kind of. Next is Duke Apalunid, who vaults over the table whilst it's in midair because all of that dex, yo. And
Oh
is
no,
proceeding-
Theodis got 15. That's my bad.
Oh, Theodis got 15. Theodis goes first.
Let's see, did Theodis? I'm just going to double check real quick, but I'm pretty sure he got 15 because I know he scored. No, he got 14. He actually got higher than Francis, which is hilarious.
Okay, then you go next. So, what is your initiative declaration?
Oh, he's going to fly towards the door because fuck running, he can't run.
You need to activate that effect, which is an irritate 3 effect to go fuck you, gravity. Real.
Yeah. So
It starts off as difficulty 7 minus any focuses that you choose to use.
yeah, he actually uses his crutch like a staff in this situation as he raises it up, points it in a direction, and says "Fuga pa Phoenix," and yeah.
Cool. You will.
so-
Okay. So how this works is, I would also recommend spending. You can spend quintessence to also lower the effect. So basically, if you want to spend down the quintessence, you can get it to a difficulty of 4. You roll 3 dice. I would also recommend spending willpower because you need to get a minimum of 3 successes to do the effect. So
yeah, I'll spend. How much quintessence do I have in my body right now? If I actually have the max amount because I haven't spent any, so I'll spend 2.
Yep.
And I'll spend for a willpower.
Cool. Roll me your sweet bones.
Okay. How much does that lower the diff by?
It's down to difficulty 4.
Okay. Okay, I get 4 successes.
Yeah. Would you like to be able to fly for the scene?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's fly away. Let's fly. Let's fly away.
Theodis will explode out of his chair and proceed to fly across the room. It almost looks like he's being dragged by his crutch. You will take a point of paradox.
Yeah.
You will also take a point of paradox for each turn you stay in the air, as the consensus goes, "What the fuck? Man was not meant to. What the fuck?"
You're not in a plane. Fuck you.
Okay. Next up is the Duke, I believe, at the top of the 13s, who is. Oh no, hang on. Does Theodis beat them actually? Or no, does Francis beat them actually?
Francis has, taking into account celerity, has a total dex score of 8.
Then yes, Francis, you go next.
He spent celerity. Run away.
Run away. Run away.
I'll give you his celerity level. You don't already know.
I already know it. Fine.
Okay.
As I said, the Seneschal also heroically ran away. So with that in mind, cool. We are next on. As I said, the Duke runs away. We are next on to. Bravely Sir Robin ran away. That's how this fucking works, right? Next we are on to. Next we're on to Teresa. What's Teresa doing?
She is holding her action till after Crib moves.
Cool. Next
She's not running away.
That's fine. Next we are at Emily.
Emily is going to spend blood for celerity, and she's going to get as far away from whatever is about to happen as possible. She's already been burned. She doesn't want to happen that again. Can she grab anyone who is slower than her as she's moving out?
I've got this wonderful mental image of the character just picking someone up and carrying them over their heads.
You can, in theory, grab either any of the following. What initiative did you say this thing was going on, Anthony?
11.
Okay, you can grab either the people who will be affected by the 11. You can grab either Siren or Lottie, ironically, because both of those will be affected.
Okay, this will be well. She's actually just going to pick up Siren on her shoulder, and she's
Lottie is going to have a moment because you touched the Siren, but He appears somewhat bewildered. As you touch him, yeah, that is fine. How are you lifting him? Are you like fireman's hoisting him over your shoulder?
Yeah, something like that. Because
Oh God.
awkward.
Okay. So that is that action. Next is Crib. What you gonna do, Crib, with all that junk inside that trunk?
Run, runnity, run.
Are you going to run
And,
fast, run far, range fast, range far?
I mean,
He would walk 500 miles and 500.
I'm clearing range bands. That's what I'm doing.
In
And
that case, she's running too.
depending on what happens next turn will depend on what I do next.
I was going to say, actually, shit, because we never did it. We should have. Nick, you were actually high on the initiative, and I completely misread that. That's my bad.
No, I was at number 13. You've pretty much been going down the entire list of the people who scored 13, and I was just like in the middle of all that, so don't worry about it.
I believe that you may, in fact, be cornered in one side of the room, but you'll have to run a scan to give clarification.
You are indeed behind the table with this guy, but you are entirely capable to basically boing out of your chair, leap over the overturned table, and proceed to run like a bitch.
Which he will do, but with a few added things, I should point out. Considering how everyone's been popping like celerity and magic powers and everything like that, it seems only just that Nick uses his own ones, but with a bit of a twist. Whilst everyone's pretty much pushing on the speed button, Nick's going to be putting the pause button on. I believe I have to. That would be twist time.
Yes.
Okay. I don't. Can I
run it by me what you're looking to do, just in case?
Pause, basically, stop time for however many successes that I get. Hopefully, will be enough to get him out of the.
Yeah, it won't be entirely stopping it. We will have to slow it down for everything.
No. It literally says if she wants to stop time, as in the outer world freezes in relation to the kind of bubble, which according to what I'm reading on here is, has
twist time
determined by a multiple or factor of the character's faith score. So about pretty much 5 yards.
You can choose the distortion to be as great as 5-1. 5 turns for every 1 turn spent. The bubble is centered on the fiend and has a diameter in yards equal to the character's faith score. Once created, the bubble does not move, so you cannot actually freeze time. You can slow it down to the point where it's functionally frozen, because it's a ratio thing.
Yes,
but you can
basically we pause around a space of like 5 yards around him, or however. Depending on how much, it depends entirely how many successes that we get, and so yeah.
Can I just clarify? I assume by pause, are you going to be using that bubble to try and run faster, or are you using it to freeze this guy?
We're using it to basically pause time everything around him except him, obviously, and hopefully aid in his escape, because it's very hard to catch someone when I mean, again, it really depends on the number of successes, and also the second question I needed to ask: would he be able to evoke his apocalyptic form, as in addition to this? Or
that will require that.
I'll go with whatever you say, mate.
Yeah, I'll let you do it as a free action because.
Okay. Right, so yeah, popping 1 faith for apocalyptic form, and it does give a few bonuses. Let me just double check what those were, if they're going to affect any of the rolls on here. No, it's not going to give me any extra dice. It does reduce the difficulty of that. right. Either way, I'm still going to make the roll.
I tell you what. While you're doing that, I'm just going to clear the rest of the initiative order to make. I think that everyone is up to. So, Crib, Christina, are you going to also GTFO like a mofo?
Sorry, had to unmute myself. Yes, she is going to get the fuck out because they're
I like how this big serious meeting where we had this lovely venue is now going to end up getting concluded in the car park. 10 recommends.
Yep.
With everyone scrambling away, like run away.
This is what happens when you all start ignoring demon signals.
All right. So in that case, it is just poor old Siren and Lottie who will have to go after the thing. So.
Okay. In that case, Evan, the man raises his hand, and he puts his hand into like a claw-like shape, and slashes through the air, which forms a tear in space in the air. When you look through it, there is nothing but blackness. Infinite black void. And a moment later, out of it leaps a foul creature with 4 limbs and a very spindly body, claws on each of its feet, and a massive set of horns sticking out of its head. Ladies and gentlemen, an outsider has just been summoned.
Eek.
And it proceeds to attempt to run you all down. Or, if there's still people in the room, it will attempt to attack them. So I think Siren and Lottie were being carried to safety.
I mean, hang on. Emily, you do have the strength to lift both of them. Do you lift both of them or just one?
Then she will lift both of them. I was just...
Okay, in that case, this outsider starts bounding after you all. Bound, bound, bound. I believe movement works off dex, so do any of you have a dex below 4?
Well,
I really hope at least one of you does.
I'm being carried. So
I do.
Damn.
What about people with a dex of 4?
Yeah, dex of 4 will also... Basically, this thing has a dex of 4, so it can run at the speed of someone who has dex 4.
It also works off athletics.
Yep.
Yeah, it also has an athletics of 4. So.
Okay, then.
Oh, shit.
Right, so is your combined dex athletics less than 8?
Yes.
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 Okay. Anyone whose dex athletics is lower than 8, it catches up to you.
Oh, fuck.
Quickly.
Yikes.
Okay.
And now I have to ask the question. The person carrying Lottie and Scion, is your dex athletics lower than 8?
Nope. My combined dex and athletics is 8.
Okay, in that case, motherfucker, because this thing gets to act, but eeny, meeny, miny, moe. Okay, which one of you would like to be savaged? I have to pick a player to savage.
I was going to say, and then it was, you could hear a pin drop.
Yep.
I will volunteer.
We're looking.
I get to invoke the word.
Invoke what?
The weird.
I.e.,
Okay.
I burn away my mortal self and bring out. It's the changeling version of going.
Oh yeah. Yep. I think Evan will agree with you invoking that.
It will. That will take place on your turn though, because the running action. Basically, we're still technically in the initiative order, which means it gets its move, which it's doing, and then it's going to attack. Then it goes to Siren, then it goes to Lottie, and then on your action you can invoke things.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to try and attack you. with a, I believe it would be dexterity brawl. So give me a moment to roll dex brawl for this thing. I really should pre-roll more shit.
Helpful. Can recommend.
To double check the ruling on something real quick.
It's diff 6 generally for dex brawl. Evan, is that right?
Yep, unless you're doing like weird funky combat maneuvers.
No, this thing's just trying to claw his eyes out. So.
Ah, delicious eyes.
So that's 3 successes. So.
I get my dex athletics to dodge since I only took a move action.
Yep, I believe so.
Yep.
Alrighty. My I got 2 successes.
It got 3, you got 2. So I believe that's still.
It lowers the amount of dice damage he'll take because it doesn't get any rollover.
Yeah, that. Also, because Evan, explain to me. Anthony's faintly confused.
Oh,
he rolled 2. Monster rolled 3.
Yeah, so the monster still connects. It just doesn't connect as well. So rather than it doing its strength plus its weapon, damage plus rollover successes, it will just do its strength plus its weapon damage because it didn't get any extra successes to roll over.
Okay, all right then. Okay.
Is it weird that I just know the combat rules so well because I use them to savage you all on a semi-regular basis?
No.
Says more about you as a person, I think. Ooh, that's a nice roll.
And ones do not deduct from damage.
Yep. Take 3 ag.
Okay. I have new plan.
Old plan involved pain. New plan involves more pain.
I have a lot of glamour.
All right. It will then revert to Siren's turn. Siren is going to very politely ask to be put down.
He will be put down.
Thank you. He will even go so
By
far
throwing him out of a window.
He will even go so far as to say thank you. You'll see Siren whip around, and he points at the demon, or at the outsider rather. To clarify, is it an outsider or something from the abyss?
It is an outsider.
Excellent.
The guy literally ripped a hole in the universe and welcomed in one of the things from beyond.
That is made of sad. Okay, we may have to burn down this historic, beautiful castle.
Oh fuck! It was so pretty.
Incidentally, that's
Lottie
already
is okay
going
with
to happen.
starting the fire.
But Siren points a finger at it. Now then, I just need to get his difficulty to do a thing. He is just going to go for a straight up fucker kablamo, because fucking kablamo. Okay. His eyes blaze with an unearthly light for a few moments as he shrieks something in an altogether alien language, before tendrils of light rip out from his hands and impact the creature at high velocities. It will take a grand total of 8 levels of ag.
8 levels of ag.
Yep.
Okay. In that case, 2 things happen simultaneously. The creature just evaporates, and you hear a hideous screaming from the conference room, followed by the smell of smoke and a flash of light.
Siren proceeds to fall down to one knee and he starts to cough up blood. And when I say blood, a lot of blood. Like, as in something stabbed his insides levels of blood.
Cute, angry screaming from Lottie. What the fuck did you do to yourself now? I'm trying to get out of the arms.
Emily will just stop and just put Lottie down. She seems as though she's still waiting to just do a sprint race for the Olympic medal, but she'll just put Lottie down and just look back and just see nothing really.
I think that if
Lotto.
you check, Siren will say very weakly, as like he is. There's a lot of energy that's going up into just keeping him vertical. For anyone who has life sight on, he has taken himself for aggravated damage internally.
I don't.
To turn life sight on. Because he is still incredibly weak and using his power currently eats his own life force.
That's why Lottie is upset with him.
At this point, by the way, crack, pop, snap, sound of burning material from the conference room.
I believe.
Sorry. No, Lottie's just gonna go and grab him and drag him back to Emily. We're leaving.
Are we still in initiative order?
No,
no longer.
When the thing dies and when it's very obvious that the thing is dead, the various NPCs stop their running. They didn't even get into their celerity actions to run very far, so just the blood was spent for nothing.
Yep.
Emily will pick up the obviously weak person.
As you do so, he will proceed to cough up more blood. You get the distinctive. Does Emily have any medicine?
Yeah, she does.
Would you like to roll me intelligence medicine? Standard diff, because this is actually pretty obvious.
Yeah, I'm guessing he wants to be held upright. Yeah, I have 4 successes.
Oh, it's more so moving somebody who has internal injury is the worst thing you can do.
Then she will
propping him in the position he's in is probably a much better idea. Keeping him in the kind of rough physical kind of dimensions he was in.
Actually, Emily will just say, "We need a stretcher. We need something to carry him with."
How heavy is Siren?
About 120 pounds soaking wet.
Yeah, Lottie's got strength 3. Would she be able to help Emily at least walk out with him?
Or we could ask the mage who has the life sphere to do something about it. I'm just going to sit here sipping my coffee and being like, hey, you got dots on your sheet, Christina. Being all like, dots on your sheet.
I know, right?
Crib's getting a water bottle.
I thought, didn't everyone except the 2 who didn't have the ability to get the fuck out?
No, basically what happened was you were all in the corridor and the creature pursued us out. So basically everyone sees the creature be destroyed by Siren, then he falls onto his knees and starts coughing up blood.
Well, in that case, I have life. I think life 3 allows you to heal others as well, right?
Yep, the 2 of you can work together if you'd like.
Yep.
Sure, absolutely.
So 3d10. Is difficulty lowered if we work together, or
no? What happens is you would basically make a combined check, so you would add your successes together. So Christina would roll her arete. It's difficult. Bear in mind, this is all counted as vulgar, so you'll all take paradox because healing aggravated damage is always vulgar.
Okay.
So it would be difficulty. It is vulgar without witnesses. It would start off at difficulty 7 minus your foci if you're using a custom foci plus any quintessence you deign to spend.
I will spend a quint.
Yep.
So that's that lowers it to 6, right?
Yep. And does Christina or does she choose to just go YOLO?
She's got foci on her, and I'll spend 1 quint, so that'll lower it to 5.
Cool. Roll your d6. You can also spend willpower on this if you'd like. Doesn't matter.
I got 3 successes.
Yeah.
I have no successes.
You can continue rolling if you'd like. You can roll the next. You can roll again at difficulty 8 because obviously the quint wears off.
Yeah, but does that mean that she healed him? She just healed him 3 ag? Or?
She gets enough successes to kick off the healing effect. It depends. In theory, 1 more success is needed to heal him all the way up.
I will spend another quint and take another point of paradox and hope I can get that undone somehow. And I get 2 successes this time.
Cool.
Yay! All right.
Yeah. Between the two of you, you will manage to write his life pattern. What the two of you will sense as you do so is his magic is slightly odd in the sense that currently it is active. It actively draws on his own life essence to use. So that basically he ripped out a huge chunk of himself to protect you all.
Right.
Because
Yeah, so taking some paradox to heal him was the least we could do.
Yeah. Exactly. Thanks for saving our ass, dude.
Yeah, pretty much.
he stands very shakily to his feet when you're done. He takes out a handkerchief and he wipes the blood away from his lips. As he'll say, something to consider, ladies and gentlemen. That, he points at where the outsider was the least of those creatures that exist on the periphery. The least darkness. Now contemplate what it would be like if the door to that evil was simply thrown open properly. As in, it was not just a brief tear, but it was the unbinding and the throwing open to a darker fate.
Question for all of you. Do any of your characters have YouTube notifications?
Lottie definitely does.
What? YouTube notification?
Yeah, to say like there's a new video trending or something to that effect.
Lottie definitely does.
Probably, yeah.
I would say yeah.
Wow, okay, that was a bit eerie. We said it at the same time.
Okay. All of you who do will begin to see get multiple notifications. Videos from all across Ireland are coming in. And people are reporting that, like, in hospitals all across the country, the catatonic, those who have been in comas for years, are sitting up and simply reciting, "We are nearing. We are coming. We have fed." And then all these people are slumping down, and in every single video, as soon as they turn to the bed, you hear beep. As all of the people have died.
Well, that's
and there are
just fucking
thousands of
jolly.
these videos coming in.
Well, Christmas is over, so jolly is not the time now.
Christina's jaw drops and she just kind of looks at the others that are also looking at this like, what the fuck?
You will see Emily just look at her phone. She crushes it with her hand and just crushes it, just throws it away, kind of just clears out her finger. Okay. This asshole needs to die.
That's a fair response.
I don't know if death will be enough.
Yeah, I don't care really. Like, is the building on fire?
Yeah, the building is still on fire, hun. Let's just keep on walking.
We need to go, and Emily just runs away. She begins to find a door and just run.
Deuces. Nice girl.
About 10 minutes later, we will reconvene in the parking lot. As I said, we had this lovely meeting room, and now we're in the parking lot. What were you going to say, Joey?
I was going to say she was going to go back to that room to see if she could help put out the fire.
Oh no. The room itself. Imagine if someone had set off an incendiary bomb in the center of the room after spraying the walls with kerosene.
It's the mortal suppression, the fire suppression system should eventually deal with it. I mean, this is a big.
No, Evan. No.
Hmm?
The mortal suppression systems tried and were turned to steam.
This is why we can't have nice things.
This is why we can't have nice things.
For reference, and I'll let you all know this because Evan, it's a relatively simple thing. High torment application of the law of flames, the Holocaust, for level 4 of it.
Yeah.
Everything within a certain range just woof. Now, coincidentally, when they do later on search the ruins, They find no fat corpse, suggesting that the emissary may have escaped. Or may have been burnt to ash. You're not sure which.
I don't. As he's sitting on a car, so he's actually physically sitting on like the bonnet of a car. Siren will say, "I don't necessarily believe that these two instances were linked this evening, aka what it is that Lord Ishar or whatever the hell his name is doing, and the entity that decided to interrupt us this evening. I believe that."
That we apparently called or invited.
No.
Shouldn't we have like a code name for him? Or,
No,
I don't know.
no, we shouldn't. You
Well,
misunderstand.
wasn't it just because we spoke about him that it?
No, it wasn't. It was because one of us spoke about him, or rather, butchered the name. Names are very interesting little things, Miss Stevenson. That was your name, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I didn't tell you, but obviously people know. So yeah, it is.
Needless to say, there are many different things in this world, many different powers, and each one of these powers has its own part that it plays. But one of the things that has a commonality between us all, one of the things that binds us all, he will look at the changelings and he will say, I believe my friends here understand its significance even more so than I, is the importance and the power of a name, and the name of an individual and a thing. Is that a correct statement?
Crib will nod his head, sipping from his bottle of water that he got in the intermission of running.
I was going to say there was at least one vending machine before the building burned down. Don't worry about it.
Yep. And he's sipping on that slowly. Yes, names have power, not just the word itself, but the way it is spoken, the way it is intoned, inflections, words.
He looks at Ivanov and he'll say, "You have said the name of your master countless thousand times, no doubt, and you've never experienced this."
No, never.
It is because he points at Nick, and he'll say, "It is because you and the nature of what you were spoke the name, or rather, some of it, I believe."
It's possible.
I
mean, there is a reason. Sorry, did you hear me? And I know I was a little bit away.
Oh yeah. It's just Emily seems to have a question, but
possible that might be. I thought I recognized part of that name.
I believe I believe that if you say it with the knowledge of the individual thing that you are expressing it towards, if you speak it with absolute certainty as to the entity you are addressing, that may curtail the problem.
Pretty much. I mean, why do you think I refer to myself as Nick? How many, to be quite blunt, how many demons do you know that are called Nick?
Emily looks as though she's about to shit herself or something.
Crib kind of tosses his head back and forth for a minute. I wouldn't call him a demon, but he was a jackass. Definitely doesn't live on this world.
And she just does the don't talk to the changeling. Just, I think. Are you? What exactly are you, if I may ask? Because I don't know. I got the impression that you are something like that. And she looks at Nick.
I'm one of the damned and the fallen.
Oh, great. Super.
They who rose their hand against God in the first war.
Okay, so I'm. That's just totally perfect. Like, she's face palming at this point. She's just shaking her head very lightly. That's perfect.
Nick,
Mm-hmm.
Just so you're aware, your attention is suddenly drawn elsewhere. You're not entirely sure where or why, but something is tugging at you, and it takes you a few seconds to concentrate. And then you realize that someone has been repeating the first fragment of your celestial name for about the last 15 seconds in order to draw your attention.
Mm-hmm.
Do you wish to actually make the effort to observe this?
I believe it's a awareness roll I need to make, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I tell you what, Anthony, if you want to deal with that, do so in a separate side scene after this one, because I'd rather just get this,
Rightio.
rounded out and whatever else have you. So Siren, sitting on the car, looks up at the night sky, and you can see his very large eyes blink twice, like blink, blink, before he'll say, "You've now all had a taste of the horror that these people wish to unleash on us. And I assure you, when I say that thing that they summoned was the least taste. And there are many of them, many beyond counting. As many as there are stars in the sky, there are dark voids that lie between the stars. And so we will require the aid, the collective goodwill, and the support of all in order to thwart this individual's machinations. I merely wish to know if we have that."
Peter nods seriously. Like he there's a look in his eyes that says, it's a hard look, but determined as well. Like, we need to do this.
Trieste is going to look at Crib for permission to speak.
Gonna look at Duke.
The Duke is currently has another one of those water bottles, and they're holding it up to their head because, by God, they've got a headache. So they kind of just give a dismissive kind of hand wave, like, yeah, do the talkie, do the speak.
Yes.
Is he giving her permission? Out of character.
Yep.
Okay. She's just going to look at Siren and say, "You can count on us."
Good. Hennessy is currently, he is contemplative. You see his head's kind of twisted around to the side. And he looks at Ivanov and he says, "In many ways, we're responsible for this mess, aren't we?"
Only insofar as we didn't set him on fire the moment he was arrested.
I consider that to be some semblance of fault. What about you, Francis? Do you think that we should take a proactive stance in cleaning up our own mess? Bishop.
Yep.
The Seneschal asked you if you think that we should take a proactive step in cleaning up what is arguably our mess.
I wouldn't exactly call it our mess, but you are correct. We will need to ensure that our laws are upheld.
I believe Miss Stevenson already expressed herself rather wonderfully when she shattered her phone into 100 pieces.
Yes, and I'll need to ensure that that what has occurred does not garner any stronger response from
If it helps,
local powers that be.
If it helps, my men are currently already killing the feeds on YouTube. The last thing that we need is a mass hysteria. So the site will be taking down the videos before long, or rather, they'll be claimed to be hoaxes. Experts will be found. We'll spin doctor the thing as usual. You know how these things go. But yes.
As for the incident that took place in the castle, I'll be monitoring the situation. If the authorities do intend to investigate, I'll ensure that it gets quietly sidelined.
Oh, please, it'll be an exploded gas main. Do you have any idea how often they occur? I assure you, it's quite often.
It's often a telltale sign of when we're involved. He kind of gives a slight smile. Is it like, we all know it's true?
There's a shrug. There's a begrudging shrug. But he will nod before he'll say, very well, we'll support you in this endeavor. Why not? It's been too long since I've had some real excitement.
I would like to go over what we know at a later date so we can take a more proactive approach, let's just say.
That's agreeable. We will schedule a further meeting that perhaps will not have such calamitous intent. My God, there goes there goes the art gallery. Oh dear, that's a shame. He looks up as a large two large stained glass windows on the castle front just shatter outward. The flame engulf through them from within. He's just like, oh dear, there goes the art department. Oh,
That's troublesome.
Half a look Beaumont just looks like he just looks on and just kind of narrows his eyes in completely unrepentant contempt.
It's fine. All right, so with the Wunderkinder assembled, because by God, you will now for henceforth be known as the Wunderkinder. We will end our scene as the backdrop is taken up by the picture of Dublin Castle merrily burning into the night. Either myself or Anthony will probably have to write a blooper about this. But and thus it was that sadness occurred. Thank you, players for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. This has been the first crossover scene in Darkness in Dublin, and nobody died. Yay!
Don't jinx it.
I mean,
although we did set a major national monument on fire.
That's
right.
You know how I keep pointing out that there is no fire or everything's not on fire. Today we lied.
Yeah,
there is no spoon.
It wasn't on fire yet.
Yeah, I was going to say, isn't that just kind of par for the course?
A little bit.
Yeah, I was about to say that same thing.
Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. Have a pleasant evening, y'all.